Afternoon and welcome to today's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. My name is Amanda Reinhart and I'll be discussing what's currently happening today and what to expect through the weekend and into early next week. Bottom line up front, we are not expecting any hazardous marine conditions across the Atlantic, Caribbean, or Gulf of Mexico through Tuesday. We got a general high pressure pattern bringing quiet springtime weather. And we are expecting some seas 8 to 10 feet in the central Atlantic, and I'll highlight that in a few slides. So just taking a look at the latest surface analysis, you can see here the cold front that's stretching across the central Atlantic, moving across the area. It's bringing some showers and thunderstorms across the Atlantic, especially north of Puerto Rico. However, the high pressure is extending across the rest of the region. So looking at Friday morning here, you can see in the Atlantic, we have some 8-foot seas across the tropical central Atlantic. Otherwise, we've got some moderate to fresh winds in the Gulf of Mexico, in addition to the Southeast Caribbean. And these are bringing seas 6 to 7 feet in both of these areas. Moving ahead on Saturday, you can see moderate to fresh winds continue across the Gulf of Mexico with seas 6 to 7 feet. In addition to the central and eastern Caribbean, we're also seeing seas 6 to 7 feet. And then, of course, 8-foot seas across the tropical Atlantic with moderate to locally fresh winds. And then by Sunday, to round out a fairly quiet weekend, still, once again, we've got moderate to fresh winds across the Gulf and the Caribbean, in addition to seas 6 to 7 feet. And then that moderate to locally fresh winds across the tropical Atlantic with 8-foot seas. And then on Monday, we've got a stronger cold front moving across the central Atlantic and bringing seas 8 to 9 feet. In addition, we still have that pattern of moderate to fresh winds across the Gulf and the Caribbean with seas 6 to 7 feet, and then moderate winds across the tropical Atlantic with seas to 8 feet. And then finally on Tuesday morning, we're expecting some northwesterly swell of 8 to 10 foot seas with moderate winds across the central Atlantic. And then once again, we got moderate to fresh winds across the Gulf of Mexico and moderate winds in the Caribbean with 6 to 7 foot seas across those areas. So in summary, we are not expecting any hazardous marine conditions across the Atlantic, Caribbean, or Gulf through early next week. We do have some 8 to 10 foot seas associated with northwesterly swell that will impact parts of the central Atlantic sometime early next week. And that concludes this week's Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. Our next briefing will be Sunday, May 5th. And until then, have a safe weekend.